What's up guys, I'm BTC. The medal system in Overwatch leaves a lot to be desired and isn't particularly useful, so let's try to fix that. In my never-ending struggle to improve Overwatch, I thought it was about time to address the medal system. This is something that I would definitely like the Overwatch devs to see, so please be sure to like and share this video. Let's start at the beginning. Originally, Overwatch had a scoreboard like traditional FPS games. However, the devs decided it wasn't quite working, and it didn't give the information that they thought was particularly useful, seeing as Overwatch is about attacking and defending an objective, as opposed to simply getting eliminations. In an old 2016 interview, Jeff Kaplan spoke about it, and here's a short excerpt. He says, "We basically stopped displaying any forms of scores, kills, deaths because it really wasn't telling the story of who was doing their job properly to win or lose as a team. And really, what it's all about is, did you win or lose as a team? None of the other stuff really matters at the end of the day." And as a result, we didn't get the scoreboards, but instead, we have the simplistic medal system that we have now. I understand why they did what they did, but Jeff Kaplan is wrong when he says those stats don't matter. When people play a game, they generally want to see themselves improve. This is more emphasized for those that play in a competitive ladder setting. Here's the thing though, that player shouldn't be trying to compare his stats versus the other heroes in that match. Instead, he should be comparing his stats versus other players of a similar rank that use the same hero that he is using. Your damage stats as Tracer compared to your teammate using Reinhardt are pointless, but comparing it to the average Tracer player at your rank can be very useful. Is your damage below the average? If it is, it might mean you spend too much time trying to flank and not enough time actually engaging the enemy, or maybe you just need to work on your aim. Do you have more deaths per match than the average player? This might mean you're being too careless or out of position. But if you're dying 15 times per match and the average is only 7, that's important information to know. The current medal system has some serious flaws. Essentially, it's either worthless or it's bad. For example, if you're playing as a Junkrat and you have the gold medal for damage, that is largely worthless information. You're playing as Junkrat, one of your team's DPS. You're supposed to have the gold medal for damage. It doesn't tell you if you're actually performing well as Junkrat, it simply says you're ahead of your team. But even that can be bad, because you can have gold eliminations, but if that number is only 3, then the gold medal is both worthless and it's bad. On the other side, let's say you're playing Orisa and you have gold damage, but you also have a Junkrat and a Soldier on your team. Having the gold medal in that particular case for damage as Orisa is bad because it means that your DPS probably aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. There are lots of other examples. I think you guys get the point. Having the gold medal is either worthless or it's bad. So how do we fix this? To start, the current system needs to go away in its entirety. Comparing your stats to your teammates, who are playing vastly different types of characters, is worthless. Instead, your stats need to be compared to the average stats of your hero at your rank. This is what the current in-game stats look like. Overall, the design and layout is good, and I think we should probably keep it like that in order to make a transition to a new system a little easier. Now I'm going to explain how my proposed system will work, and then at the end I'll show you what the final version will look like for the player. First, we have to have all the stats for every player, but the good news is, it's already being done. Blizzard is already collecting every single stat for every player in every match. Even if a profile is hidden, it doesn't matter, Blizzard still collects all that. That's important because it cuts out a huge amount of work that's already been done. What Blizzard needs to do after that is to find the average stats for every hero with a variety of different settings. They need to be grouped by rank, what map they're playing, that sort of stuff. I think these groupings for rank should be in increments of probably about 100 in order to make it accurate, but also a little more manageable. The stats need to be based on the same hero, approximate rank, specific map being played, whether the player is attacking or defending, and the in-game comparison needs to adjust for an equivalent duration. The hero and rank should be similar for obvious reasons of comparing like to like, The specific map is important for the same reason, as the stats you have on Hanamura are likely going to be quite different from the stats on King's Row. Also for that reason is why you would break up the attack and defending sections, because the stats are going to be vastly different. The equivalent duration is so that the comparison just makes sense. If you've been playing a hero for only 1 minute, you don't want to compare it to the average stats for 5 minutes, so the game would have to make the appropriate adjustments to that time. Here's a quick example. The stat we're checking for is damage per minute, the hero is Soldier 76, the rank is 2301 to 2400, the map is Hanamura, and it's the attack side. In reality, there would be thousands of players that the server would look into, but we'll just use a few. Add up the damage, divide by the number of players, and you get the average. This means a soldier on attack side Hanamura in this rank should be doing about 1000 damage per minute. I need to point out something really important. The game doesn't need to be constantly checking what the averages are. That would be a massive waste of processing power. Instead, Blizzard could check once a week or even once a month. The fact of the matter is, these averages, once they find them, are not going to fluctuate all that much, unless a character receives some sort of significant buffs or nerfs, or a new hero is added to the game. So, making these averages only once in a while is perfectly fine. Now that we have the average stats, we need to present it to the player in a simple yet useful way. I would get rid of the current medal system icons entirely and replace them with something that gives better feedback to the player. In my example, I'm going to use up and down arrows with simple colors, but Blizzard can change this to whatever they want. Taking that example that we just had with Soldier, if the player is doing better than the average, then we see a green arrow pointing up, telling the player in a simple way that they are outperforming the average. If, however, they're close to the average, a different icon and color would be displayed. In this case, I just used a diamond because it's kind of both an up and down arrow at the same time. And if they're underperforming, then it's a red arrow pointing down, letting the player know that something is going badly. With even a very quick glance, the player is going to be able to easily understand how well they're performing during that match. The next part is changing around what stats are displayed because some are more important than others. Some of the more important stats are going to be eliminations, hero damage done, healing done, damage blocked, deaths, weapon accuracy, and other stats that are going to be specific to each hero. One of the things that's kind of weird under the current system is it shows healing done even for characters that don't have any ability to heal. This is a waste of a stat spot. I would rearrange this so that the important stats for the hero that you're currently playing are on the left, and the total stats for all heroes that you've played during the match are on the right. And now finally, this is what I propose the new stat section should look like. On the left is the hero that you're currently playing with only the stats that are relevant to that hero. Again, if the hero can't heal, then there's no point in putting the healing stat there. In this example, you see that the current hero is Junkrat. The eliminations is 10, which is better than average. Hero damage done is 1000, which is about average. Deaths, as I mentioned before, is an extremely important stat, and this Junkrat has only died once, which is better than the average. Next is accuracy, 50%, again better than average. And then we go into the hero-specific stats. In this case, the number of enemies that are trapped and the Riptire kills, which, as you can see, are both below average in this particular match. I kind of answered this earlier, but I want to clarify, if you switch heroes during the match, those stats on the left are only going to be calculated versus the average of the time you've been playing that hero. So if you've been playing Junkrat for 2 minutes, it will compare versus the average on 2 minutes. If it's only been 30 seconds, then it compares it versus 30 seconds. On the right-hand side, we have the totals for all the stats of all the heroes that you've played during that match. This part should be self-explanatory, but it would include other things like healing and damage block that your current hero might not have access to. So as you can see, while there may be a lot of stuff going on in the back end, the player will only ever see this final screen, and it's incredibly easy for them to interpret and understand the meanings of the information that they're being provided with. If they see a green arrow pointing up, then they know that they're doing well. If they see the red arrow pointing down, then they know that something is going wrong. This kind of information is infinitely more useful than the current gold medal system that compares you to other players in your match that are playing vastly different hero types, performing different functions in different roles. My proposed system gives you information based on an apples-to-apples comparison. The current medal system compares apples to cats, and while that might be amusing, it isn't very useful. In addition to the previously mentioned benefits, my proposed system would also help in reducing toxicity problems during matches. The current system allows players to insult and drag down their teammates by pointing out who does and doesn't have a gold medal. I'm not saying this is going to miraculously solve the toxicity issues, but it would certainly be an improvement. So that's my solution for replacing the gold medal system with something that provides better feedback and useful information to the players. Even if Blizzard decides to go with something else, I think they definitely need to revisit the gold medal system and make improvements, so once more, please like and share this video so that it gets attention. Thanks for watching, and if you'd like to see more, subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss anything. Also, come hang out in my Discord server and my Twitch live stream. Special thanks to my Patreon supporters. If you'd like to see what kind of cool VIP rewards you can get, check the links down below. And remember, always blame the controller, because it's never your fault.